Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show Matt of Slugdge. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Is that correct?
No. Slugdge.
Sorry, say that
Just
again?
it's easy. Slugdge. Just easy like
Slugdge.
that. Yeah.
Slugdge. Okay. Um, I I believe that you hold the distinction of being our first international guest on this show as well.
Do I?
I believe
Oh.
so. That's got to be right, isn't it? 365.
That is correct.
In preparation for this, I've been working on expanding my repertoire of increasingly offensive accents for cultures and nationalities.
All right. Yeah. Go on then.
Or what's all this then? It's Sludge, the greatest fucking metal band on earth. How about that?
Yeah, but you sound a bit like a southerner there. It's not quite got the same, sort of
Well,
dulcet tones as we do in the north.
I mean, I am a
It's not bad
southerner.
though. It's not bad. I've heard worse.
I'm a southerner though. I think it's swapped for you guys. Here, southerners are looked down on as kind of being rural trash, and it's the
Yeah,
opposite in the UK, right?
Yeah, it's the other way around. We're the scum in the north because it's grim up north, and down south they're all the sort of like the Norman elite, you know.
The posh city boys.
Yeah, that's the way. Yeah.
Well, that would be what 365 is, right?
I'm a Yankee, so you probably both hate my guts.
Well, I'm so stoked to have you on the show. You've been a friend of the toilet for a long time, and I think this is the first time that we've ever actually got a chance to interview at all. So thanks for doing this. You've got a
Yeah.
new record coming out, and I actually
Well, it's not new. It's all it's the three old ones, but yeah.
the three old ones as a all collected together and available on vinyl for the first time, right? As well.
Yeah, well, it's Dim and Slime Ridden Kingdoms, the last album we did. That's Willow Tip done that on vinyl. They gave me an option, and I picked the latest one. They said we could do Gastronomicon, but I thought, no, people aren't going to want that. But yeah, apparently loads of people have said, oh, why didn't you do Gastronomicon? So, yeah. But maybe in future, I don't know.
Gastronomicon was my introduction to you guys when that came out, and I think it was 2014. And the thing that I took away from it is this is really, really good, and this is really, really strange. This band's predilection towards slimy creatures. It's kind of your thing, man. And
Yeah.
I just want to learn a little bit about how that came to be. When did you first discover your fascination with slugs and snails and such?
Well, it's a bit of a boring story, really. We just kind of I don't know what we were doing. I think we might have been drunk or something like that. We were just discussing sort of music, really. And I can't remember what we brought up exactly. It was something along the lines of like these sort of sludge bands have a sort of they call themselves, there's like Iron Monkey and Abominable Iron Sloth and all that. And I think my dog's growling at me now for some reason. I've already fed you, stop. And we were like, why isn't there one about slugs? Like Slugdge. And that was literally how we came up with it. Anyway, we decided not to do sludge metal in the end because, if Metallica can be called Metallica and make fucking like hard rock, then
You burnt
why can't we
Metallica.
be?
Get wrecked.
Yeah, no, you know what I mean. When I was younger, they were like a proper metal band. In
Oh,
fact,
absolutely.
they invented the old thrash metal. So there you go. But it's they slowly they moved away from that, didn't they? And now they're sort of trying to go back into it now, aren't they?
Well, from this silly, possibly drunken joke with wordplay, you've developed a mythology for your band that seems
Yeah.
to grow with each release, and you have to have some joy in writing about this. What does it for you here?
It's just I don't know. Like I like it and everything. I enjoy writing it. It's really fun. We'd always done on the side, we'd always done sort of stupid bands where we were just kind of taking the piss a little bit and just messing about. And then we realised that at some point, because we kept trying to do all this sort of political stuff, and like I was at the time I was in like a crust band, I suppose you would call it, like punk, a hardcore, and I'd done grindcore bands and all that because I really like grindcore, and that wasn't working out for us, so we thought, well, let's just sort of give up on trying to do anything with music and just for fun. I know it sounds really sort of contrived, the stuff that we'd done before, but we were really fed up, so we just wanted to do things for fun, and so we just said, well, we'll just do something silly, and that's exactly what it is. But it's fun to write, but at the same time, sometimes you get up in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror, and you think, like, this is the band that, people paid attention to. Slugdge. It's a ridiculous name, and we can't change it now, but, that's what it is.
I don't know what you're talking about at all. That seems like a strange, silly thing to worry about as I work on the toilet of hell.
Yeah, no. I saw in comments someone was on about this the other day, and it's like, it was on Toilet of Hell, and someone was like, you're on a blog called Toilet of Hell, you just telling me about the name Slug for. But it is, it's, I don't know, it's weird, because, I've never taken myself too seriously, and neither has Kev, but, I don't know, there's just a kind of, I think it was just that moment, we knew it was right to just let it go and just stop trying to, make this, that, and the other, and just make whatever the hell we wanted to make, and, that's the way it's gone. My dog's wandering around trying to get something off a plate. Come here. So, yeah.
And it's worked out. You work with a big label. How did you get hooked up with Willowtip?
They just sent me a tweet saying I need to speak to you, and I was like, I didn't, because to me it was really silly stuff, and I didn't think anyone would bother with us like that, because we were just putting stuff out for free. We didn't really care about, at first I didn't care about making CDs, because I thought no one's going to want this stuff. It's just something fun for people to have, download it. We put effort into it, you know what I mean? We went out of our way to get Almar and all that. It wasn't just some, it meant something to us, but we didn't think it would do anything. And so Willowtip sent me this tweet, and I was on holiday, and I sort of like deleted the email out of my thing, not looking, so unless it said like from Bandcamp. So unless it was like a fan thing, most of which I miss anyway, I deleted it. So I messaged them back like months later and said, "Oh, did you email me or something?" Because I deleted the thing, and they were like, "Well, so we'll resend it." And it was Jason. He was like offering us a 2-album deal. And I was like, "That's stupid. Why the hell? Why would you do that?" But it's it's their funeral. No, I'm joking. It was great, yeah.
So yeah, I guess that should be a message for bands. You should maybe check your social media messages. It could be a label knocking down your door. I mean, it almost certainly is not, but it could be.
Well, if it's, I suppose, I don't know. I think it's just, like people have asked me as well, like, how did you get to do that before and all that sort of stuff. And I just say it's just pure luck, I think. I don't know. I think it's luck. And I think it's just wasting your time doing stuff for so long and just not giving up at it, because they message you eventually, hopefully.
There you go.
Certainly wasn't looking for it though.
A few months back, I uncovered this thing from the Earache forums about this Morbid Angel limited release of Domination, which they put out slime packs.
Oh yeah.
Now, I can't think of a more appropriate band to bring that back. I mean, obviously, with the case of E-Rake putting out the slime packs, it was incredibly corrosive, and I believe that they were eventually an ecological disaster. So there might be a better way of doing it. But what do you say for your next release? You considering any kind of special edition slime packs, maybe?
Well, you've got me concerned now. I'm looking up at the soundtrack to the Apocalypse by Slayer, which is on my shelf, and I'm thinking they have a blood pack in that. So what are you saying about them being corrosive? I think I might have something just ecologically dangerous sitting up there now.
It's probably fine.
Yeah, it's probably fine. I'll open it and I'll just get terrible burns everywhere, so it'll explode. But if theirs worked, I'm sure that we could do that maybe. But I don't know. It seems like an expensive thing, doesn't it? Packaging slime up, and I'm all about cheap. I'm cheap. I'm all about efficiency. No, I suppose I'd have to ask the label. Really, maybe next album. You never know.
Digby, let them know that you're interested in doing the slime pack, and tell them that you'd prefer not to, burn holes into warehouses if it punctures, or maybe you would. I don't know.
If you can't do that idea, another thing you could package going with the slugs and the slime motif is packages of salt.
That might be offensive to Mollusca, wouldn't it?
Just have people at your shows throwing salt at each other, just trying to shrivel up. No.
Matt, are you there? Oops, I think we lost him.
I think I offended him.
You may have, dude. It's not cool to salt. It's not cool to salt somebody.
Say a bad. There we go. I thought I said a bad word and
sorry,
got rid of you.
I accidentally pressed my button and it went off. It's dangling on a string. It's stupid. Yeah, salt. That's like a weapon. So we can't really be packaging that in. We did have an idea of putting live slugs in things, but that's cruel to animals. I'm pretty sure that we would have people all over our case for doing that.
That seems pretty work intensive too. Finding and then packaging slugs one by one.
Yeah, and they're absolutely crawling with parasites. It wouldn't be good. They have things like schistosomiasis and things. They kill 200,000 people a year or something. So it wouldn't be.
Wait,
it just
really?
Wouldn't be on. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, they're deadlier than sharks. People keep telling me, they keep saying slugs aren't metal. Well, for one, there are snails which are made of actual metal that live under the sea, right? So that's one thing. And they're wiping us out. They're pretty hardcore, so I don't really understand that argument that people keep leveling at us.
I think it's that people in metal lack creativity. There's an obsession with one or two things, I don't know, dragons and wolves, and then they discount everything else because
wolves are pretty sick.
I mean, they're okay. They're not that sick, to be honest with you, but they're okay.
No, they're pretty sick. It's just if it's all Nazi stuff, which it usually is when it's covered in wolves, then I'm not interested in that. But they're nice. I mean, I like dogs. They're just like dogs, aren't they?
Yeah, so, I mean, they could be cuddly.
Yeah.
Or rip your face off.
Yeah, K9 did that, didn't they? They had dogs singing on their album.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they liked to photo with one of my dogs. They liked to photo with my dog today. I was chuffed. I mean, forget all these other, rubbing shoulders with famous people. K9 liked one of my dog's photos. He's really, he's chuffed, aren't you, Ted? Come up here.
What kind of a pup is he?
He's a border collie.
Excellent choice.
Too intelligent for his own good. Keeps trashing my house.
Yeah, he's just doing calculations in his head, figuring out the optimal way to get food off your plate.
Yeah. Well, he's distracting me now in an interview thing, podcast, and I asked him not to. Could you come up here, please? Oh, fine. Forget it then.
There are very few things that we'll tolerate on the show, interrupting the flow of things. But I think doggies coming in, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things that your band does is your album tracks are generally slime themes on existing metal tracks. At least the title is. For example,
Yeah,
Salters of Madness for Morbid Angels, Altars of Madness. I really enjoy that. Is that something that you plan on doing with your future releases? How long
Yeah,
can you
well,
possibly keep that up?
I don't know. We will do though. It's just, I don't know. It's just something we did with the first one, and it feels like you can't, I don't really want to stop doing it now. It's just that's the way it is. It's like a little bit. I mean, in the music there's like a Ted Packarding. In the music there's like a nod to our influences, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it's kind of the same thing with some of the song titles. I mean, we don't worship bands, but we're not so, we don't think we're being like massively original. We're just sort of doing what everybody does, building on their influences, and we really don't mind sort of, saying what they are, and that's all it is really. It's just not. Some people have said that, oh, the puns really put me off and stuff like that, and I'm being very negative tonight, but it's like it needn't do. It needn't do. You don't have to let that go.
Don't let these negative people in your life.
I know.
The puns are delightful, and I would like more. What I dig about your band is that it's fun and that you've got good music and a theme that most people wouldn't touch because they want to use the same tired iron crosses that everybody else uses, because it's dangerous to step outside what everybody else does. You open yourself up to ridicule by not copying the guy next to you.
Yeah, but we're all right with ridicule. I mean, we're totally. I'm saying it and keep bringing it up like it offends me. It really doesn't. I mean, it's just, it's not to be edgy or anything. It's or just trying to be needlessly comedic. It's just what we're like. We're not going to change doing what we've been doing because we're just. That's what we've always done. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to. Not that I've got. I mean, I don't. Loads of the bands I listen to, it's just all about Satan or Cthulhu or something. Those are the bands I really love, and I love the sort of the artsy fartsy ones as well. That are a bit, kind of. Like your Deathspell Omega and your Gorguts and stuff like that, and love those bands. But yeah, it's just what we do, and that's all it is. That's all there is to it. And you either like it or you hate it. If you hate it because of the surface elements, though, I would argue that that's probably, you're going to restrict yourself if you do that. You should just listen to the music.
Yeah, don't be
and
a
if
fucking.
If you still hate it, then fair enough.
Don't be a fucking poser. Get into it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Well, be a bit of a poser. That's just the way metal is. Metal is. I find metal inherently silly. Sorry if people are offended by that, but I think it's a silly kind of music that sort of, it's a bit ridiculous. I don't dislike that. Obviously, that's what I actually like about it. It's crazy.
That's what Lemmy of Motorhead said as well. That it was all kind of silly, and that you generally don't get in the business of, metal or rock and roll if you're not kind of a poser and not into like dressing up and being, silly with it.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I'd have the patch jackets and the studs and all that, and the bullet belt and stuff. I mean, I don't wear it so much now, but it's the same. It's your battle attire that you go out to gigs in. I mean, it's to outsiders it looks fairly ridiculous, but that's in the essence of what we're all sort of about. You don't have to be either. That's the thing. You don't have to do all that, but some people do, and there's absolutely no need to criticize anyone for it, unless it's like some band that's clearly making a cash grab. We don't like that, do we?
So one of the things that 365 and I like to, yell at each other about is politics. Generally, we restrain ourselves to what we know, and which is very little, shockingly little. But we think we know a little bit about U.S. politics. I wanted to get your opinion on what's going on in the UK right now.
What's going on in the UK? Political, right? Right. So I think there's some parallels to be made. I won't go to because it's not really my place to go into sort of US politics, not being from there, but I do keep up on it, and I think there's quite a lot of parallels to do with the sort of the Trump phenomenon with what happened with Brexit, and it's kind of to me it's just it's like a, I don't want to get too serious, but it's like a rejection of. I mean, you heard it all before. It's a rejection of sort of globalization and the sort of neoliberalism and all that, and I think it has a lot to do with the 2008 financial crash as well, stuff like that. And people are just bitter. There's jobs being taken away, so they're lashing out at things. And my personal opinion is that they're lashing out at the wrong thing with the sort of Europe issue, because people are, leading up to this referendum thing, it was a fringe thing, right? And it was immigrants, and we'd been hearing on, like, I heard this thing on Fox News. You probably heard it, where they're like in America, where they're like saying, it's been taken over by Muslims and people like that in Birmingham and other places, and it's completely run by them, which is a load of nonsense. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
Birmingham being a big metal place as well. We played gigs there and stuff, and actually, horrifically, one of the gigs we did play there, we ended up playing accidentally ended up playing like a neo-Nazi thing, which was horrendous for me because I'm quite left-leaning.
I recently saw The Green Room. That could have put you in a dangerous spot if it's anything like that film.
Oh, I've not seen the film.
TLDR, leftist punk band ends up playing a neo-Nazi dive bar to make gas money to get back home. Violence happens.
All right. Well, it was getting a bit heated because all these sort of what I assume are like Muslims and there were sort of minority groups present at this thing, but then afterwards they were all sort of drinking together, and I didn't get it. So I think I've just been like, because I'm from like a small village, and it was a sort of a bit of a shock, like a culture shock thing. It wasn't really like about, they were on stage, they were doing like Zeke Kyle and all this sort of stuff, and then they were sort of drinking with these people that they were sort of against afterwards, what it seemed like. So I didn't really get it, but I'm getting a little bit off topic anyway. All I'm saying, it was the same as the thing in the perceptions that this was happening in the major cities. It doesn't really. I mean, it is in some places, like London. There are a lot of foreign people in London, but a lot of the areas that voted for the Brexit thing weren't the places that were affected by these things. And I think it has more to do with people sort of are discontented with the government. However, I think it was misplaced anger, because it's leading up to the referendum for about a few months before it. Suddenly there was all this, we don't want to be controlled by unelected bureaucrats, technocrats in Brussels. And I thought, well, this hasn't been an issue at all until now. Do you know what I mean? This is the first time I'm hearing about it. So, I don't know. It just seemed like fake outrage. And I started to sort of, I mean, I didn't really get the sense of that from what was going on in America. I honestly don't know. I think that because I'm not from there, so I can't speak on it, and I'm still, for sort of things that I've done in the past, I'm still not actually allowed into America. I have to speak to the embassy if I want to want to be allowed in. But I know what it's like in Europe because I go around Europe, and meet lots of different people. But I can only assume it was a similar thing that was happening in America. I was eagerly watching the election thing because for whatever you think of these people, it was massively entertaining.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it seemed like a lot of the sort of major cities on the east and west coast were sort of for one thing, and sort of middle America was for another. And I just saw the same kind of. Incidentally, it was the people that voted for Brexit, by and large, were from my area in the north. And I was a little bit sort of annoyed at first, but I'm trying to sort of understand what had gone on. I mean, some people are saying, it's a clear blow against globalization, but I'm sort of in the camp of, well, you're not going to stop it. You're not going to stop any of it. And to be progressive is not about sort of whining about things. It's going along with things and just trying to make the best of a situation that is beyond your control. And that was my opinion. And a lot of the stuff that sort of Trump was saying, I just thought he's trying to control something he can't control.
Yeah, in terms of globalization, that bottle has been uncorked and it's not going to come back.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not going to be able to put it back in.
If you relate it to metal, I mean, something that we're talking about, that culture, sort of heavy metal, and I know now from selling albums to people and sending albums to Saudi Arabia and Syria and places and Indonesia and places all around the world, China, Japan, America, that's a global culture, and it's something that between us in America and the UK and Europe, it kind of started there. Do you know what I mean? So we've exported that, and we've exported a lot of things around the planet, and the sort of one of the main weapons that's been used against the sort of the globalists, if you like, has been the internet, which is the ultimate tool of globalization. It's the thing that's sort of connected the world. So it's like the master's tools are being used to dismantle the master's house, but I don't think that it'll happen. And I think that people who try and do that, who try and resist, and fight something which isn't, it's not as insidious. It's just a thing. It's not like an insidious. It's not like a group of people like your Alex Joneses will tell you. It's just people trying to manage society all around the world, and manage what's going on. And I think if you try and fight that, it will bite you in the ass really hard.
I don't know. I'm a regular listener of Alex Jones, and he has assured me the globalists are causing all kinds of ills across the world, including, I believe they are making frogs gay now. So,
I really hate myself because I watch it all the time because I find him so entertaining.
This fucking guy's from where I live, like the same city.
Is he? Oh.
He is, yeah. He. I've never met him. My coworker did. He told me that his head was the size of a pumpkin, like a large pumpkin, and that's pretty much all I've taken away from him.
Yeah. Oh, he's clearly. I think people like him are quite dangerous, but you can't stop them from speaking their mind, because then you're worse then, But yeah, he has. It's a bit like a cult thing, and I kind of watch in sort of bemusement, but like sort of terror as well, as he sort of goes on about these plots and all this sort of stuff, and I just can't. I mean, if I was in a punk band, and it was all like, and I've believed some pretty wacky things in my time. I won't go into, but I've, like many young people, I chop and change between, different ideologies quite with ease, with rapidity, and but back then I might have started, opening my mouth on it, but now I talk about slugs. I mean, there is a sort of a message of unity in a lot of the things that I write about, but it's usually from a position of if you're not unified, we're gonna destroy you from a slug's perspective. Sort of war on humanity via destroying the agricultural infrastructure of their countries by eating all their lettuces or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that, and in ways, your ideology of making people band together with the slugs or be destroyed does have parallels with Ben Franklin's original statement of join or die to form the original Union of the United States. So, even though that
but
you're a UK band, you obviously have parallels within science fiction and historically American politics. So. Let no one say that you're anti-intellectual or anything like that.
No, and that's another thing that worries me about this whole thing. Without trying to sound like there can be a problem of when you say it's anti-intellectuals. This is anti-intellectualism, and I've said this, and I needed to qualify what I was saying. It's not that everyone's stupid. It's just that we cannot look at things about our ideology and twist facts because one of our things in our band, just to clarify what I'm saying, a lot of it's about sort of environmental stuff, sort of under the surface of it. There's a lot of environmental stuff in it because I used to be I wouldn't say hardcore like Earth Liberation Front hardcore. I was quite concerned with environmental things when I was younger, and I still am. And I used to sort of, keep a lot of animals and all the rest of it for that were having their habitats destroyed and all that. This stuff about the global warming thing, this climate change, we know the consensus. Yeah, that is anti-intellectualism. You cannot just take the word of Lord Monckton or any of these other people that comes out and says, oh well, the numbers are wrong. No, his numbers are wrong, and you can't twist facts to fit the ideology. Like, I get that in essence libertarianism and sort of minarchism and all that kind of stuff is in its pure sort of form, and ideally it would be great, but we can't twist things just to sort of make it fit with our thing. It'd like be me sort of saying well, communism would be fine, it's just that no one did it right. No, there are lots of big gaping massive flaws in these systems. We can't really be going back, we have to look forward.
Longmont Potion Castle, a guy who does has for many years done these absurd, crazy albums of prank phone calls, has described his work as saying, like, it's dumb, but it's not stupid, by which he means it's a little bit playful, it's a little bit out there, but there is a reason behind everything that he's doing, and I kind of get the same thing with what you're saying about your music.
Yeah, I like to think so. No, it's not. There's a thing going on there, but it's at the end of the day, it's kind of just catharsis. Because I've spoken about it a lot before. I've had a lot of problems, which have meant that getting to the stage where I'm now, where I can just sort of relax and be all right, has been a sort of a long road. And I have to be sort of super careful with stress because I've had a lot of mental health issues and all the rest of it. So a lot of it is just cathartic as well, trying to keep myself sane, even though it seems like a lot of it's sort of insane rambling. And it's almost like a play on that, really. It's a bit of a joke, like it's and it's probably why I sort of watch a lot of this from an outside perspective, watch a lot of this conspiratorial stuff as well, like tinfoil hat kind of stuff. Is that how crazy it looks from the outside compared to from when I was very much a paranoid sort of delusional person in the past. And so that whole space aliens things, actually things controlling my mind from outside there, it all has there's all a point to it. It's all something that's relevant to me, and it's relevant to Kev as well, because he's been into all that as well.
Thanks so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you.